Well, here we are again, another situation in which eBay has managed to anger the vast majority of sellers on the platform. Now, unlike eBay, I'm going to actually back that statement up with data that I'll show you later on in the video. But this all has to do with eBay's rollout of item specific recommendations and requirements in the following categories. So we're dealing with holiday and seasonal, comic books, action figures, sports trading cards, and books. Like all books. That's millions and millions of items on the platform. So this has quite far reaching implications. And the rollout of this was totally botched because of, once again, poor communication, a poor technological infrastructure that powers the site, and also a model in which they expected sellers to bear the brunt of implementing all of these item specific changes in a way that's totally impractical and not respectful of our time, which is very important because time is money, and the vast majority of sellers on eBay are like myself. You're doing it part time and you have many, many other responsibilities going on in your life. So, putting in something that's going to waste a bunch of our time without clear data to show us what the benefit is for sellers is a huge problem. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you and show you some examples of the problems. I'm also going to talk about some solutions. And as always, I would like to hear your comments in terms of problems you're dealing with the item specifics, and any ideas you have in terms of moving forwards and trying to come up with some solutions. So let me share my screen with you here and take you into my seller hub. And what you'll see up here, it says item specifics recommended 360. Now that refers to 360 listings in which they want changes made, not 360 item specific recommendations, because within each one of these listings there can be more than one recommendation. Like here you could see for the Mummy game there's one recommendation, but then over here for the Tweety Bird mug they have 12 recommendations, and they have sometimes 4, 2, 6, 3. I know someone who has as many as 26 recommendations. So I don't know, maybe someone watching this has more for a specific listing, but it's crazy for some of these. So let's go into one of these. But actually, before I do that, let me just say, so 360 for me, that's 62% of my listings, because as of now, I have 583 listings. So it's the majority. Now you don't see anything there right now that says required item specifics, because I did all of those. And that's one of my suggestions, is doing the ones that say required, because if not, eBay can essentially ghost your listings. In other words, they just might not show up in search, and then they also might not show up in an external search on a place like Google, for example. So the required ones, you really want to try to get those done. We'll talk about what to do with the recommended ones, because as I'll show you here, they can be totally ridiculous. So let's go into the Tweety Bird mug here. You might remember me picking this up at the flea market recently for a couple bucks. So let's look at some of the things that they would like entered into this. Now you could see it already has the brand in there. Looney Tunes says it's a coffee mug, and that color is pink. But they want beverage type. What is that? Hot, cold, hot or cold. Why do I need to enter that? Like, why? All right, let's go. Here's capacity. All right. Measured amount the product can hold, not the mass or volume of the product itself. So I have to go and actually get, like, what, a measuring cup and then pour that in here and measure and then enter the capacity in there, that's absolutely crazy. Bundle description. So is this a bundle of items or is it just one item? Well, it's clearly just one item. So why are you even asking me about a bundle? But wait, it gets even better. Let's look at department. Baby, boys, girls, kids, teens, unisex, adult. You might think that I'm accidentally in the clothing aisle, but no, look right here. You could see collectibles, mugs. So that doesn't make any sense. Glass type. It's not glass. It's a ceramic mug. Material. This gets even sillier. Look at this. Let's go to material. Wait till you see this. Acrylic, aluminum, bakelite, bamboo, bone china, brass, bronze, cardboard. Cardboard? Who drinks out of a cardboard cup? I mean, I it's just like, what? Am I gonna like drink out of like make a cardboard cup? I don't know. Maybe they're thinking of like those little paper cups or something, but I mean, it's just crazy. Time period manufactured. Okay, well, 2005 is when it was made. So you would think, right, that this is what I mean about being technologically behind, that they should be able to extract that data and just plop that right into there and also know automatically whether it's vintage or not, because that's a simple calculation because they're defining vintage as they should as 20 years. So right there, they should be able to automatically have that included, but they don't. Personalized, yes or no. I mean, it's just crazy. Now, look at this. Tweety Bird as a character. That's obviously something that is very important to this mug, right? Like, of everything about this mug, there's nothing more important than it's a Tweety Bird mug. But let's go and do a count here, okay? Look, remember, 12 recommended. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's move up. 10, 11, 12. So Tweety Bird, if we go down here, is not even the most important element of the cup. The character is not even considered one that would be a recommended one. It's under additional. It's right next to whether or not there's a California Prop 65 warning, what country it was made in, and convention event. It's just nonsensical. It's nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. So now remember the theory behind this that eBay has announced in terms of why they're asking people to do this is because they're saying that if you don't add in these item specifics, it's not going to come up in search, or is a decreased likelihood that it's going to come up in search. So adding all this stuff helps buyers find it faster, both within eBay and outside of eBay. Okay, well, let's go over here to Google search, which is where most people are going to go to search for something like this. And I typed in what I would think a buyer would type who's searching for that cup. Tweety Bird, pink, yellow cup. And look at this. It shows right up. It shows right up. Here's my cup right there. First thing that shows up on Google. So despite not having those 12 item specifics and having the term Tweety Bird that they don't consider a recommended item specific, it's showing up number one in Google. All right, let me go show you another example. I'll show you one more, okay? Because many of you know that I specialize in comic books. But regardless of whether you're dealing comic books, wait until you see this, because this is just further something that highlights the ridiculousness of all this. So this is Nyoka, the Jungle Queen. You can see here it's graded 6.0 by CGC. That's a company that did the grading. All right, now let's go back over here to item specifics. I'm going to scroll down to Nyoka, the Jungle Queen, because as you can see here, they have 7 recommended for this. So let's go over to it and see what they're recommending. Well, one of the things they are recommending is now something that they have called professional grader. That's not what they used to call it. It used to be called grading company or something like that. And as proof that I had entered that in previously, is which I put that for all my CGC comics. Here's the certification number issued by CGC. So how many of you watching this think that I typed in the certification number, but I didn't click off when I made this listing that it's CGC? Of course I enter that, but they removed it. They took it out. Okay. So you can see here, here's my choices. So now I could put that in. All right, now, why am I showing you this? I'm not even going to go to the other ones right now, but let me show you what happens when I go to Google and I do a search for Nyoga Jungle Girl 16. My comic is not showing up in the Google search right now. Okay, there's two other listings. This is a 4.0. This is a 6. This is a number 16. It's a 2.0. Mine's a 6.0. Remember, I'll scroll down and show you. None of the other ones are even eBay listings. But check this out. I'm now going to instead type in, I'm going to add in CGC, which is not currently in there because they removed it. And now when I click it, lo and behold, here's my listing. So again, this is the problem with communication and not showing us the data behind what they're asking us to do. Because we run these little experiments as sellers and we say, this doesn't make any sense. You know, you could tell us something, eBay, but we're not just going to sit there and lap it up like puppy dogs. You've got to show us the reasoning, the logic, the data behind what you are asking us to do. So this is the one of the announcements. I'll put a link to this in the description section that shows what eBay is saying. Again, saying in terms of why they want this done, in terms of improving the chance of being found on Google Shopping. And they call this listing with structured data. But again, there is no data that is presented to back up all this listing with structured data. That's pretty ironic, isn't it? All they do is show you all the different things that they're going to ask you to now enter in. Well, as evidence that sellers are very upset, here's an article that came out in e-commerce Bytes a couple of days ago. And you could see here that eBay is telling sellers not to get discouraged because there's just been a wave of complaints. And you go down to the comment section. I mean, I'll link to this article as well. You could just see article after comment after comment in this article, just complaining about the item specifics and giving, you know, additional details beyond what I've provided here today. And you could see in the response here to a question that came in, and part of the question here was that the person wanted data, not theory, in terms of what problem eBay is trying to address with these item specifics. Show us the data. And in the response right over here, you will not see any data that is provided. But what they do say is we don't want our sellers to be discouraged and leave the site. Well, that's not working because, as you could see from the poll that I put in my community tab today, the sellers are quite upset. 90% of people who responded, so almost 500 people responded, are quite upset about what is going on with item specifics. So this isn't just me. This isn't just Don, the auction professor, who's done a couple live show videos about this. A lot of people, a lot of sellers, the vast majority I have spoken to are very upset. I have my finger on the pulse with this, not only through my channel, but also in my Facebook group, the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, because I see a lot of people talking about it. We got 26,000 members there. So there's a lot of people that are quite upset. So what to do going forwards? Number one, you really do, if you're going to stay on eBay and sell on eBay, I'm not saying you have to like it, but there's no choice really about adding the required ones. That's why they're called required. You don't want your listing to get ghosted. Now, if you don't have tons of, if you don't have many thousands of listings in which this needs to be addressed, you know, you could probably do it yourself by July 12th, which is, you know, when this is really going to go into full effect, in which if you don't have it done by then, you could have your items ghosted. Now, if you have thousands and thousands of listings, you're probably going to need to delegate this to someone else, an employee, or you might even have to hire out someone temporarily to do this. Now, number two, try to remember if it's a category that you're listing in frequently. Like for me in comic books, they act even though I have the title listed up top, they actually want me to type the title again, or in a book they want me to type the book again in a separate section, and then they want me to type the author and list that it's in English. Okay, so there's just certain things that and things that are common that you're doing often, you're just gonna have to get into it as a matter of routine. So um, that's if you're going to stay on the platform. Now, other people are going to cross list more. Other people are going to go off the platform. In addition to changing item specifics, they also changed a lot of categories. And so they reduced things in a very simplistic way. So, for example, for comics, they used to be broken down by um, a publisher, by um, era. They broke them down by character, and now everything's in just one big category. And then you have to go select all these little individual things yourself underneath, as opposed to it being something that might pre-populate automatically. And that's one of the things going forward eBay needs to work on. They need to clearly, as I've shown here, they need to work on improving their artificial intelligence so that it's much easier for us to deal with these item specifics if they're going to require them going forwards. Now, another thing going forwards is that for things that they are asking you to put in under recommended that just don't make any sense, I would suggest just not entering those and not even making something up, because then you're going to increase the chance that you're going to get an item not as described. eBay itself and those articles that they published on their site, they even say for the recommended ones, just put in the ones that you know or that you can do. Don't, they don't specifically say don't put in things, but by implication, just don't make things up. Don't put in things just to fill in a spot. Okay. And this is particularly important for those watching who have more of a, obsessive compulsive type of personality. I don't say it in a disparaging way. I just say like someone who's really focused on details and feels like they have to enter every single thing. You don't. You don't have to. It's okay to have some of these recommended things just lingering around, and you're just going to have to adjust that in your mindset that there will be some things lingering that just won't be closed until the item sells. So that's another thing. Now, from eBay's perspective, I really think that like Jamie Iannone and some of the people who are working in, the on the executive level, they need to do something like going like under like an undercover boss type of show. Like they need to actually go into a reseller's house and literally see what it is like for us to deal with these types of things, these types of changes, and what we experience. In working with the platform. In many ways, the platform is still good, but and is why I continue to sell on it, that it has a big broad reach. But what they're doing by continuously antagonizing sellers is that they're setting things up where they're not creating a feeling of loyalty and camaraderie. What they're doing is sellers are basically on edge, like they're on the edge of a cliff at this point, and they are just basically waiting for something else to come along that's better. And when that happens, they're going to be willing to jump on it much easier than they otherwise would have if these problems weren't continuously going on. Like for me, for comic books, for my ones that have more of like an adult theme, like Tara Witch of the Black Rose, I'm gonna have to go to Hip Comic to enter that now going forwards, because I can't list them on eBay. They're blocking that, and I talked about that in a prior video. So you know, that's pretty much it for now. Make sure, by the way, that you're checking. Don talked about this tonight on his live show, that you make sure that your item is listed now in the proper category, because when they switched categories over, they sometimes dropped your stuff in inappropriate categories, and that category may have a higher fee than the one you were previously in terms of what you'll have to pay if it sells. So that's really important as well. Lastly, folks, before you go, and let me share my screen once again, and I'm putting this up on purpose. It's a Mercari page. It's not an eBay page. This is one of the members of the channel. This is Mary McQueen. You've seen her many, many times in the comment section. It's one of the things I do for members is that I recommend that you go over to their page. I'll put a link to it in the description section and in the comments. And go check out what Mary has to offer. She's got 410 items listed on Mercari. That would be kind of funny if you went over there, especially after this video, and go support her. Tell her Primetime says hi. And I will also and I actually did. I think I did this recently for Mary. I did list her store for 24 hours in the Facebook group, the Reselling Resource Center. I do that for all members at any level, $1.99 above, and it helps often people make sales and definitely gives them broad exposure. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you check out membership and all the perks through the join button. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And please share this video with someone else. Make sure, by the way, you come by Wednesday night for the thrift battle between Mr. Buys a Lot and Westside Gary. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you there. Hang in there, folks. We will get through this.